Mazda is just crushing it right now with their designs. I don't think there's one single car in their entire lineup that doesn't look beautiful, and so does this one. This is absolutely stunning. This is brand new 2025 Mazda CX-70, the 2-row instead of the 3-row that you get in the CX-90. Essentially, the exterior looks pretty much identical. A couple of changes to the trim level, to the trim pieces. This is the top of the line trim, the Turbo S Premium Plus, and I think it looks great in this polymetal gray exterior with the tan Napa interior. This would probably be the spec that I would choose for the CX-70. So what we're gonna do in this video is have a look at this beautiful design, the Kodo design language, from a front, side, rear, the interior, and then we're gonna take this beauty for a drive. The Mazda CX-70 is powered by a turbo inline 6, putting out 340 horsepower, 370 pound-feet of torque, connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You do get all-wheel drive. 0 to 60 takes about 5.5 seconds. Fuel economy comes in at 23 city, 28 highway. Not bad for a 6-cylinder. And the base price for this is $57,000. So let's start with the front-end design, because there is a couple of changes here that I think looks a lot better than the CX-90, which is supposed to be, I guess, a little bit more like luxurious trim than the CX-70. This is the more sporty version. This part up here looks pretty much the same as the CX-90, but down here, this is completely separated and unique for the CX-70. The CX-90 has a big cut right here, which looks beautiful, but I think I prefer having it be blacked out like this. It does have some functionality to it, because you do have a little slot right here for the wind to blow through this front fender and shooting out here in the back. You also have the parking sensors integrated right here. As I said, I think Mazda is currently crushing it when it comes to their exterior and interior design. If you compare this, what you get, the performance, for example, for an X5, this starting at $57,000, and by the way, it's pretty much the same price as a CX-90. It just depends whether you want the 3-row or more luggage space in the rear. Personally, as I said, I would go for the 2-row and more luggage space instead of the 3-row design that we have in the CX-90. But look at the front face here. It has a confident feel to it. Love this chamfer that goes in here. It feels like the headlight unit sits pushed in to the front end design. Then you have this beautiful pulsating indicator lights here. Full LED, of course. Everything is full LED with the now black trim instead of the chrome that you get on the CX-90. Small details like that, this change down here and the black trim all around the front end and of course around the car just makes it feel like it has a sportier soul than the CX-90. Mazda calls this design language the Kodo design language, and what that means is they play around with empty surfaces. And as you can see, there are a lot of empty surfaces here with just a couple of key lines, and that is the direction I think a lot of car companies are going these days, specifically with EVs, to just have very soft and fluid surfaces with not a lot of creases in it. But here you can see we have one single crease right here in the hood, and that's pretty much it. And then what builds the identity for these type of vehicles and these type of designs is going to be the graphic design. So the front end face and also the rear end, in addition to the overall proportions of the car. That is what's going to separate car brands moving forward in the future. That's at least what I think we're heading towards. And Mazda is already ahead of the game with this design language that we have right here. Now, looking at the overall proportions of the CX-70, as you can see, it looks identical in the side view to the CX-90, except for we do have now black trim, beautiful around the greenhouse. We also have brand new 21-inch wheels. These are also specific for the CX-70. They have more of a sporty feel than the elegant vibe that you get in the CX-90, and you have 275 21s all around. So you even have 275mm wide fat tires in the front end. And here you can clearly see this empty surfaces and the reflections that you get, because it's kind of fluid a little bit. It just looks beautiful, and overall it has a very nice stance to it, because the majority of the volumes comes back right here, creating this forward motion for this design. There are some details in the sight, some graphic details that I love about the CX-90 and the CX-70 here as well. For example, this inline 6. I love the font here. This gives me some Art Deco vibes for some reason. I'm not sure, some aviation vibes. Then you have a beautiful blacked out side mirrors with a very thin indicator, LED of course, and all the way down low you have this trim piece, which is sort of gloss black, and it says Mazda in the back. We don't have a proper side skirt here. Instead, the bodywork sort of just waterfalls down into the ground here, with this being the base for it. Also have the 360 camera located right here underneath the side mirror. Now, coming around to the rear end, and usually this would be my favorite view for most cars, but in this case, I do think I prefer the 3/4 front view for the CX-70. You can see just how beautifully dynamic these taillights are. I love the thickness here on the side, the pulsating indicator here, of course, being LED as well. The only thing that I would maybe want to change here when I look at the styling and the proportions of the graphics, maybe want to have the taillights be cut right here. So move this area in a little bit and have more space, bodywork around the center logo in the middle. Another detail I would like to change, this feels like such an upscale design that I would want to have the wiper hidden underneath here, just underneath this brake light up top. If we go all the way down here to the very bottom, you do have sort of a diffuser. I'm not sure how functional this is, but you do have a couple of wings here, or fins. Looks cool, but what I would like to separate this more from the CX-90 is, this being the more sportier variant, I would like to have a couple of exhausts on each side, maybe squared off, something like this, to extend the diffuser here, have some exhaust pipes down here, just to separate it more from the 3-row CX-90. You have the E-Sky Active G badge right here in chrome, CX-70 all-wheel drive in chrome on the other side. Maybe want to have the badges blacked out as well, just to remove as much chrome as possible on this car. Let's check out the trunk space of the CX-70. Of course, it is power assisted. As you can see, it's, and thankfully, because we don't have the 3-row in here, we have a lot more space. You have tons of space in here. You have some toolkits underneath this floor here as well. Couple of outlets here, cigarette outlet, 120 volt house outlet there. You can fold the rear seats by pushing these buttons on the side, and a couple of cup holders here, which is sort of a leftover piece or a design feature on the interior from the CX-90. LED here as well, and that's pretty much it. You have this privacy cover here. You can pull forward and cover everything you have in your luggage space. Beautifully done. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite SUVs in this segment right now on sale, because I think it's such good value. It feels like a proper luxury car. One of the best features about the CX-90 and the CX-70 is this. Have a look at this beautiful interior that we have here. You want to talk cozy interiors? This one is definitely one of the cozier interiors I've sat in. We have beautiful material here, this tan Napa texture right here, looking nice. Some people might not like the brown interior and the brown steering wheel, but I think it adds to the, you know, elegant feel of this design. You have the regular controls here, window controls, mirror controls, unlock, lock, beautiful chrome handle here, some cup holders back here and storage in the door. Of course, power adjustable seats. Seats look great as well. Gonna talk more about those in just a minute. But let's jump in here and get a feel for what this interior is all about. First of all, I feel like the simplicity of the exterior definitely comes in here for the CX-70. Such a simplistic layout, 12.3-inch infotainment screen up here, which doesn't intrude, it doesn't stick up over the hood when you're in the driving position right here, which I like. It's very widescreen. It's only touchscreen when you're in Apple CarPlay, and that's the only way you can get it in touchscreen, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not a big deal. Otherwise, you use this rotary dial down here to just go through all the settings that you have here. You have all the safety features. You can check that out. Alexa settings. So going back here into the home or into the navigation, you have the full navigation map there as well, taking up the entire screen. Love to see that. So it's not really that hard to use this dial down here, because the infotainment system in general is just so easy, and it's such a simple system. It has everything you need, and specifically if you're in with Apple CarPlay, you're gonna get all the features that you have on your phone anyway, so the system doesn't really matter. And in addition to that, you get touchscreen in Apple CarPlay. Soft touch, very soft touch material up here. Love how this dips in and creates a bay for the infotainment screen. Again, this gorgeous material, I would probably want to have it in this tan Napa. I just think it makes it for such a unique interior. You have the hazard right here, start stop button down here. Beautifully integrated graphics here as well for the vents. Easy to adjust, easy to figure out what they do. And all the way down here, thankfully, we still have physical knobs and buttons for the climate control settings. I love to see this in brand new cars. Just a small little control panel like this for the most important settings. Heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats in 3 different levels. Here, let's turn on the cooled seats. Turn the fan speed up a little bit because it is starting to get toasty in here. And all the other settings for the climate control are located right here as well, and for the passenger side here. Wireless charging pad right here. You have a cigarette outlet right next to it. This is the control for the drive modes. You have 3 different drive modes. You have sport, normal, and off-road. And I think that's sufficient. You don't need to have 50 different drive modes, in my opinion. I also like how this is separate and in chrome. A splash of chrome in here kind of makes it feel right. It feels right because it is such an upscale feel for this car otherwise, that a splash of chrome feels sort of okay in this car. 2 cup holders here, gear selector here, park to the right. Going into reverse, you're going to pop up the 360 camera. You have 2 different views here. I think you do have more of a widescreen view right there if you want to go into that. I forgot that you don't have touchscreen here, so you still have to use the rotary dial to change between the screens there, but it's pretty high resolution, 360 on the side there as well. You do have paddles on the steering wheel if you want to use the 8-speed automatic manually, which is probably something I would never do in this specific car. And we already talked about this area here, the rotary dial for the infotainment screen. Let's put it back into park. Parking brake, auto hold, controls for the infotainment, and the volume knob. This type of effort to make these different materials for the interior, this is something that I feel is lacking in today's car design, specifically the car interiors. But Mazda just still keeping it very minimalistic, but they still make it feel like a unique interior. And that is not a very easy thing to do, because the less you put in the car, the harder it is to make it feel like it has a unique identity. But I think Mazda absolutely nailed it in this case. You have this split armrest here, pretty comfortable. You can open it this way or you can open it all the way for the passenger. Pretty shallow storage down here, but it's all good. You have 2 USBs here, USB-Cs lit up, so easy to access when it's dark inside. And now to these seats. The only thing that I would like to change about these seats is the upper level here. I think this feels and looks a little empty up here, because this is so beautiful in the middle here that I would want to have some sort of, maybe contrast stitching would do the trick. Just something small to break up this huge area that we have up here. But they're very comfortable, heated and ventilated, as I said, power assisted as well. Now the steering wheel here, this is probably something that I'm not sure if I want to have this be in brown or in black. I would like to see what it would look like with the brown rest of the interior and then just have a black steering wheel. But I do like the contrast that we have here. We have black on the outside, brown on the inside. It's a pretty small steering wheel, which I like. Mazda logo in chrome in the middle. These are the controls for the cruise control settings here on the right side, and you have the controls for the audio. So audio controls right here, voice command. You can't really configure the gauge cluster like you want specifically, like fully configurable, which is something that I probably want to see, because it is, as you can see, completely digital here. So it would be cool to maybe have the full map, have that available in across the entire gauge cluster. 12.3 inches, but at least we still have this beautiful housing for it. Still the soft touch material up here, adding to this quality feel of Mazda's interiors these days. Overall, beautiful steering wheel, as I said, paddles on the sides, indicator on the left side, and washer on the right side right here. I love how this dash just flows into these side vents that we have on each side. These are also beautifully done. Some more buttons here: traction control, eye stop at red lights. If you want the engine to shut off, you just click this one. Memory settings for the seats down here. Looking up top, we have a full sky roof right here, whatever it's called, all the way back to the passenger seats. It definitely brings in a lot more light, which is pretty cool. Let's keep it open for now because it's not too hot outside. You control it with this button right here. A couple of LED lights up top as well, in addition to some storage for your shades. So let's check out the back seat, because I think this back seat, because it is a CX-70, it's a lot of space for the second row passengers here. Still have the same beautiful trim like we have in the front doors, with the same layout and same materials, same of course Napa brown interior. So let's jump in here and check this out. We have 3 climate zones in this car. We have 2 in the front, 1 in the back, so you can turn this on as well if you want to, like that. Then you have separate zones back here for the second row. Perfect. You also have heated seats for the second row. A couple of USBs, some beautiful vents here, and if we fold down this center armrest, you are going to find yourself 2 cup holders right here. So everything you need, 2 cup holders here. You also have more cup holders in the door, and since this is based on the CX-90, you also have cup holders back there if you need additional cup holders. But one last look at the interior, and then we're gonna go and take this beauty for a drive. Let's go. Let's take the 2024-2025 Mazda CX-70 for a drive here. And I'm already in love with this car. I'm in love with Mazda right now. I mean, I reviewed a bunch of Mazdas. Every single one of them is just a great car and a great value. And that is this one as well. This Miata by far is still the best sports car in the world, no doubt about that. And this CX-70, the best SUV in the world? I don't know, maybe it is. It's great. I can't seem to find any faults with this car. The only thing that's a little bit annoying is that we don't have a touchscreen here. But again, it's not that hard to just use this rotary dial here. So under the hood, we have a 3.3 liter inline 6. So it's not a 4-cylinder, still a 6-cylinder. 340 horsepower, 370 pound-feet of torque. All right, connected to an 8-speed automatic. 0 to 60 in about 5.5, 6 seconds, something like that. Not really anything crazy. I mean, if you get a BMW X5, for example, the base model, the X40, X540i or whatever it's called now, that does 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. But it's not about that. And you also save a ton of money buying the Mazda, but you still get the same premium feel for the interior. I mean, just look at how gorgeous everything is in here. And this is soft touch here, soft touch here. Beautiful armrests, different type of textures all over this interior. That is the reason why I think Mazda is killing it right now, because I feel like they care about the experience of driving their cars. And I feel like that is ingrained in every single model. Even if you buy a CX-30 or something like that, a regular small little crossover, it still feels like a fun car to drive. And the Miata is just on a different level when it comes to fun on a budget. I mean, it's a great little car. But the CX-70, the reason why I would pick this over the CX-90 is, as I said before, I think the base CX-70 and the base CX-90 the difference in price is about $2,700 or something like that. But if you go up to this, the Turbo S Premium Plus on both the CX-90 and the CX-70, is going to be the exact same price. So for me, I would get the sportier CX-70 because I like the front end design better, and I don't need 3 rows. It sounds really good too. It sounds great. I mean, an inline 6, very, very hard to make those not sound good. I don't know. To me, it's very, very hard to find a better, to beat Mazda, essentially, right now, because they're doing such a great job with the pricing. This starting at $57,000, which I think it's still a lot of money, obviously. 57 grand, it's a lot of money, but what you get for that price, you get a lot of car, and you get a lot of quality that feels like it's supposed to be more expensive than that. This, of course, is not the base model. This is the top of the range model, but still very good value in my opinion. The ride is super smooth as well. Let's see if we put it into sport, what's gonna happen if it stiffens up a little bit. I do like that their gauges turn into angry red. They just glow red all of a sudden. It looks cool. And if we have it, let's see what happens if we go into off-road. Not sure how many people are going to take their CX-70 off-road, maybe on the gravel road. Now you have the, okay, so this is pretty cool. Now you have the navigation, not the navigation, but a compass or something, direction in the middle here, which looks pretty cool. I like how the gauges changes up visually pretty substantially when you go through the drive modes, but still you can't configure it 100%. And I would like to do that, for example, like Audi is doing with their map, having the entire screen gauge cluster being a map. So we're gonna head out to the highway here, and I want to show you just how comfortable this is on highway speeds. Let's floor it here. Let's go. And we're up to 70 there. Downhill, but still, the power is more than enough. I think the power is just about right for this package. I don't necessarily need more power than this, even though it would be fun, of course, to step on it and you go from 0 to 60 and I don't know what. But when we're in sport mode right now, you can see that it's holding the gears a lot longer in the rev range. It doesn't shift down as quick. So let's put it back into normal. Normal is probably my favorite setting to have. It just feels more natural for this car to be in normal. But cruising here, and we're doing 65, 70 right now. Very comfortable car. Seats are great with the cooled seats, ventilated seats. Usually what happens when you have ventilated seats, it's just, I can't normally feel it, and it's sort of the case here. These are not the best ventilated seats, but you can still feel that it's cooling you down just a little bit. But it's such a comfortable interior, comfortable ride. A little bit noisy, maybe, but noise is not really something I personally is bothered by a lot. It would be nice if it was a little bit quieter in here. I just care about the ride quality, and the ride quality is great, even though it is a bit maybe noisy from these big 275mm wide tires. So I mean, overall, which do you pick, the CX-90 or the CX-70? That is completely up to you. They cost about the same as we talked about earlier. So do you want a 3-row CX big Mazda, or do you want a 2-row with bigger luggage space in the back? That is completely up to you. Other than that, the weird naming, the 70 feels like it's supposed to be a smaller SUV, but they're exactly the same size. Other than that, it's a great SUV. Love pretty much everything about this car. I like the pricing as well. The driving feels great. Fuel economy is decent as well. And the design, the exterior and the interior design, which Mazda is just on point with across the entire lineup. Overall, great job by Mazda with the CX-70. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.